Hello and welcome. How's it going? I don't know. I should stop looking at the screen. God damn it. Okay, I'm just gonna move this aside. That one person that's there right now, can you hear me? Yes, you. Hello and welcome. Nice to meet you. Can you hear me? This should be an unlisted video. How am I supposed to manage the stream? I have no idea whatsoever. We'll get into it. I'm just waiting for my brother to come in, actually, if possible. We will have to see how things go, and based on that, we can move forward from here. We have a few things that we need to cover today, actually. I was actually quite surprised that none of these things were. It was hard to find this information. Like, it shouldn't have been surprising. We're just talking about the just the news, basically. This is supposed to be something I just look at the news and just go through it. But well, even the news is hard to find these days. So, which is fun because I'm good at researching, am I not? So, ooh. I hear you. Oh, nice. Thank you for hearing me. Can you hear me clearly, or do you have to like blast up the volume all across? This is reactions, timestamps, sure. Moderation activity. Yes, please. Your first message got moderated. You got titties over your head. Where? Oh, those titties. Nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pew, 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 pew. So better. I can put people on timeouts. That's fun. I have to cut this out, right? Because I can't have titties in this. Actually, no, it's still there. I don't know how to get rid of it now. If no one mentions it, can I not mention it, please? Like, I actually don't know how to get rid of that anymore. Like, let's just see. What can we do? What can we do? Ooh. Better? Better. We can do that. Should work, hopefully. Do I still have titties over my head? Let's check. Possibly not. So, I'm pretty sure this is possibly like for the first stream. This is the best I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna fuck it. You can still see that. How is this? We have a good 60 FPS. Good. Good kbps. Where are my stats? No frame drops, which is new for YouTube. Mostly because the last time I did this, I had continuous frame drops. Like every 5 minutes, I had like 52% frame drops for some reason. Horrid. So, let's just start. I don't know. I'm still waiting for my little brother. I would rather not do it without him. Mostly because he's the one that needs it the most. Sorry. So, let's check. I'm just gonna drop him a message. Okay, for people who are here, I would like to ask you just one more thing. Like, how is the volume? I'm just gonna play something over myself. and we can see if you can still hear me or do you have any issues here, because this thing needs to set up and I don't really monitor stuff. So let's check. Can you hear over my voice, or is it repeating? Is it good? Is it bad? Okay, now there should be a little bit of suppression over there, so you should be able to hear my voice with this. Does it now? Does it sound echoey? Or is this my voice? My sweet, sweet melodious voice. Is it still echoing? Is this echoing now? At least one or the other. Okay. My brother should be here. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, that was just about my suppression. So we can actually start this. I shouldn't say sibling. And yes, this is over 5 minutes, so I can say shit that this conversation is for adults, so I should be okay. I know. YouTube like control panel because you don't actually get information out of it. Which is funny because that's how we're going to talk about the RTI, the right to information for all of us. Oh, shit, why did this pop up? I have no idea. This is stupid. It would be nice if you come here and drop a message so I know that you're there. I know I keep looking at the left, that is true. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna make sure this is popped up because how do I pop up this live fucking chat? Jesus fucking Christ, this thing is annoying. Okay, I should know these things. I should. I just don't. Scene mode. Great. Nice. What is this about? I don't care. View. Source. Stats. Multi-view. Multi-window. What the shit? This is stupid. So maybe, just maybe, I can sit like this. So I can have a look at everything. Now I realize why everyone is always like viewing from the side, because it's extremely annoying to keep looking at both the screens at the same time. So let's just check this out. Tools joined. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, what we are gonna do is screens. See, we are still managing these things mostly because this is still the start of this, so I still have a long way to go, more or less. And what I need to do is I need to pop out some things which are not popping out of. Okay. Okay, Karan, where the fuck are you? I should not have said that, but fine, whatever. I don't care anymore. Let's check. So, how do I pop this out? Oh, perfect. Perfect. hello and welcome. Let's start this shit. What we are doing right now is we're talking about the new changes of the rules that happened recently. And yes, I understand. You have news. You have news in India. We have news everywhere. News, but Indian news is kind of shit. We can actually show this over here right now as well. Mostly because the new when I was looking to research this, I was like we are talking about like the RTI and all of that sort. The RTI changes, the income tax changes, whatever there is, and the thing that when I was checking for the news really didn't show up, which was new. At least earlier, the news would show up. Right now, the news I don't think it's exactly on. So we'll have to see. What I'm going to do is we're going to go through this news. We are going to check how this is going, what is going on right now. There have been two basic changes. First change happened was the change in the RTI law. The RTI law, which is the right to information, we had the RTI Act was amended again after 2019, which removes everything what right to information should be. So what we are going, so we are just going to go over this once. The civil societies and the people out there are revolting, they are protesting, they are whatnot. So they're doing their job. The only person not doing their job are the journalists, and I am no journalist. I am literally no one. I do not understand this in detail myself. But I'm here to talk about this because this needs to be talked about. This deserves to be, because we are going in a way, in a direction of this, that our rights as a person, our rights towards from the government that have been enshrined as humans, like basic human rights, the rights of us to ask our questions are being curtailed to a very high extent. So the first thing to talk about is the civil societies, the RTI Act. The RTI Act was something that was provided to us by our government. It is foundational to our society as a whole. As a democracy, we need the RTI, the right to information, where you can say, hey, government, whichever you are, this might be Congress, this might be BJP, this might be literally any third party, I don't care, it doesn't matter. These governments need to have accountability, because if they don't have accountability, they can do whatever they want, which is a problem. That's why we need a way to get information out of the government, and a lot of times it is information that needs to be forced out of the government. That's why the RTI Act was there. The right to information, you have that right. As a citizen of India, you have that right to ask the government. Oh, thanks, Karan. You have the right to ask for. Karan, you're distracting me. Thank you. You have the right to ask for information from the government at any point of time. One of the reasons why at the initial points RTI was kept as low as it is. The cost to submit an RTI was, I don't remember, like 10 rupees max. There is a reason for that. There's a fundamental reason. So anyone can ask for an RTI inquiry. But this government doesn't really like RTI, because every time you ask them, they give you like, hey, no data available. And there's only so many times you can actually have no data available as an excuse. Like, how many people died during COVID? No data available. How did you spend PM funds? No data available. That data is PM funds is a private entity, so we shouldn't be giving you out data for that. But then again, the government was actually popularizing PM funds. It is named PM funds. The data should have, like, it was a publicly decimated fund. It was popularized by the government. It was pushed as a government fund, and it is private. That's odd. But we are not talking about that right now. That was a whole lot of crap before, not right now. In 2019, there was a change within the RTI Act where the specific term of the head of the RTI was 5 years. The tenure was 5 years for a very good reason. The tenure was 5 years because you need to have unbiased people running. So no one can force the person out. If the information that was disseminated by this person is not according to the government, this person was not directly linked to the government. Now, after the 2019 Act, this person whose tenure is decided by the government, whose salary is decided by the government, whose posting is decided by the government, everything is decided by the government, which is problematic to begin with. Now they can decide who to give this position to, whose job is to inform the public about the government, which was always red flags. Second, what happened recently, like within the last month, was that the RTI laws have changed. Within now the new RTI law, what happens is that whenever you ask for information by the guise of public knowledge, the guise of like private information, they are stopping to give you any information. So let's go through what people are saying, what people who's much smarter than me are saying. There's Prashant Bhushan who's talking about it. While it's right to information, obviously that's what they're trying to change, which affects those who have upheld as a fundamental right. Yes, that is true. We are using like down to earth org.in. They are reporting on it. Like all rights publication go to the writer Himanshu Ninatware and down to earth. Good for them. So what we are going through about like it's a lot of jargon. The civil society's members, including activists, lawyers, experts, have demanded the immediate rollback of the amendments made to the Right to Information Act through the Section 44C of the Digital Personal Data Protection (DPDP) Act. Oh, hey, back. More than 30 organizations of the group, including the National Campaign for People's Rights to Information (NCRPI), Mazdoot Kisan Shakti Sangathan, that's the Workers Farmers Power Group. It's like a union. Sadrak Nagri Sangathan, Good City Group. That's all there is to it. Like, okay, they didn't really. SNS, Common Cause and Internet Freedom Foundation, made the demand on March 21st, 2015, alleging that the amendments fundamentally weakened the RTI Act, which is true. This is, they allege because it's in front of a court, we have common sense. Common sense entails we look into it a bit more in detail. Sometimes on a court system, until something is found, it is alleged. It is always not the scenario that we can't look at something and see if it's right or wrong and make our own personal opinions. Again, this is about personal opinions. Speaking at a press conference at the Press Club of India in Delhi, members said that the amendments restricted access to public data and information, which is guaranteed in our constitution, which is true. That is correct. As the RTI Act limits your data that the government can send you, which means that the government can just say that they're not going to send you this amount of data if you've asked it from a RTI because it is private fund. Now, not private information like names and dates and whatever. An example: if you have someone who is who has been contracted for something, you ask, and they did a really shit job, and now you want to know that, hey, what is the guy doing? Like, how did he do this? Or like, how much money did he get for this, etc., which is public information because the person who gave the job was a public servant. The person who received the job is a public servant because he works for the government. the government can just say no, like won't give it to you. That's his private name, that's private earnings, which is a problem. Public information should be public. You can't just curtail someone's right to information like that just because you don't want to give out certain informations. This more likely, in my opinion, has been done to stop people from checking who are getting tax cuts. We mostly all know who are getting tax cuts. It's not you and me. Like, the Indian tax slab is the highest for like every middle class person. There is no one else who gets taxed more. You know who gets taxed the least? Corporations. Certain corporations that if I name here, they're definitely coming after me because nobody likes to say their name anymore. Even like Rahul Gandhi has stopped saying their name, even though he does business with them from time to time. BJP does business with them every day, but like you would think like, oh hey, he says so many things, like Congress says so many things on like the parliament about like the Modi Adani thing, and then goes back and like his own party does business with Adani and Ambani, and that's just like, okay, weird. I'm not gonna say that's hypocritical, even though it is, but yeah, like Congress has a huge problem. I'm not gonna get distracted from this. Let's focus on this right now. Yeah, I tend to get distracted. They argued that the changes removed provisions that enabled public to seek accountability and expose corruptions in the government entities and among officials, which is true. If you do not have the information, how are you going to prove something? Earlier, the government was forced, before 2019 at least, to give you that information. Now it can just say no. Section 181J of the RTI Act has adequate safeguards for personal protection, which is true, it already did. People who made the RTI Act weren't dumb. This is Anjali Bharadwaj. She's affiliated with NCRIP and SNS, and we are going to look into what she has to say. She were actually starting to make that her like videos and whatever from like the 1st of March, and last week I got to know about this, and I do pride myself about being like very good with this. But well, moving on. Bharadwaj said information which cannot be denied to the parliament or to the state shall not be denied to any person, which is true. A parliament essentially is you. It is your representation within the government of India. That's what the Indian parliament is. It is being denied to you. These what they want to get things done is that what they want to do is from here on out is just say no, we are completely opaque. Yeah, you voted for us, you got us in power, but we are not accountable to you. Wait, hold on, there is this amazing thing that this guy said. Hold on, I need to find this is amazing. If Correct. If you're still here, do you remember when Ajit Pawar was talking to farmers? If you, where is that goddamn video? Tells farmers he's not their representative. Nah, I think that got scrubbed. He's not beholden to them. Loan waiver slams vandalism, yada yada yada. Let's check Twitter. Generally, this is Twitter, quite literally, is better at this. For some reason, let's check Jeet Pawar Farmer. When I cut this later and edit this thing later, I'm gonna. Screw it. Can't find it. This guy speaks a lot. Oh, the acting. I swear this guy acts a lot. Nah, can't find it. Okay. Anyway, so what happened was Ajit Pawar was in the middle of farmers. He basically said was, hey, I am not beholden to you because like you may have voted for me, I am not beholden to you. Don't ask me questions. That's the whole idea behind RTI right now, that the right to information is being shit on. Like, I'm sorry, there is nothing, like, I don't know how better to say. Are we losing? No, we are not losing anything. Nice. So, let's go listen to one of the people that's at the forefront of this. She is, okay, to be fair, I am still new to this, so I have no idea who she was before today. She is part of the SNS India organization. We're gonna look at what she's talking about this here. The video is on 1.5 speed because please, I cannot.
लोगों को सशक्त किया है कि वो सरकार से सूचना ले सके और जवाबदेही मांग सके। जहां पर भी उनके अधिकारों का हनन होता है, भ्रष्टाचार होता है, मानव अधिकार हनन होता है, वहां पर लोग सूचनाएं निकालते हैं और सरकारों को जवाबदेह करते हैं।
So what is she saying is that when someone has an issue with the government, like whatever it be, the government might be oppressing them, the government within the region may be corrupt or whatever it happens, like you have the right to ask information and make your case, especially journalists, because journalists play a very important role with this, because journalists are your medium to get the news out at this day and age. At least there's like the guy screaming in the middle of the road is not a journalist. Or the WhatsApp forward is not a journalist. So journalism requires research, and this research is supported entirely by the RTI.
हर साल हमारे देश में 60 लाख आरटीआई एप्लीकेशन लगती हैं जिसमें लोग सूचनाएं मांगते हैं। अब ऐसे में सरकार हाल ही में एक डेटा प्रोटेक्शन कानून लेके आई है, ये कहकर कि हम लोगों की निजता को, उनके निजता के अधिकार को सुरक्षित रखना चाहते हैं।
So when RTI was coming to protect people, that's what she's saying. Like they were saying, like even now they are saying, like this new RTI rule is to protect people, like the personal whatever. Within this new RTI amendment.
पर अगर आप उस कानून को पढ़ें तो उसमें ना तो लोगों की, हमारी निजता के अधिकार को बचाया गया है और साथ ही में सूचना के अधिकार जो हमारा है उसे भी पूरी तरह से खत्म करने की एक प्रयास दिखाई दे रहा है।
So what is she's saying is that like within this new law that has been, like it's not about, they keep saying it's about like individual personal freedom and the right to privacy for everyone like you and me, but that is not what is reflected within the actual law, which it sounds like we have been Indians for a very long time, like all our lives. So we know generally when politicians speak, it's more or less double speak sometimes. And sometimes they're not always 100% correct. Like remember when, like the Joomla thing that Amit Shah actually explained. very nicely.
अब इसमें हम समझे कि क्या करा है सरकार ने। सरकार जो कानून पार्लियामेंट के थ्रू पुश किया उन्होंने, ये डेटा प्रोटेक्शन कानून, उसमें ये लिखा है कि सूचना के अधिकार कानून में अब कोई भी व्यक्तिगत सूचना हम नहीं ले सकते।
So this is, she's saying what I said earlier was that anything that any information that you give, like you ask for, they cannot send you any private information of any people that are included within this. I need to use more hashtags. Fine.
तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा धक्का है, क्योंकि कानून में, आरटीआई कानून में निजता को भी प्रोटेक्ट किया गया था, प्राइवेसी को भी प्रोटेक्ट किया गया था और सूचना दिलाने का भी ढांचा था।
So she's saying that within the earlier framework of the RTI Act, it protected everything. It protected your privacy. It protected the information that was disseminated. There was no issue to change this. It was good.
तो धारा 81J जो थी आरटीआई कानून की, वो ये कहती थी कि अगर कोई व्यक्तिगत सूचना है वो नहीं दी जाएगी, उसका यदि कोई जनहित से लेना देना नहीं हो, पब्लिक एक्टिविटी से लेना देना नहीं हो, या वो अनवारंटेड इन्वेजन ऑफ प्राइवेसी, निजता को ठेस पहुंचाए। अब ऐसे में कानून को संशोधित कर दिया गया है डीपीडीपी के थ्रू, और अब ये लिखा गया है कि कोई भी व्यक्तिगत सूचना हम नहीं ले पाएंगे।
So but एक बात, all she's saying is like, no, whatever happens, you will not be allowed to take personal information. What they characterize as personal information, not actual personal information. Like nobody wants that, like random construction guy's home address. Nobody wants that. We wanted, like, people wanted their names, how much they're paid, and what the government is doing. So now anything can be termed as private information at the government's behest, and then they'll just say no. Like, no, you can't have this.
इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? आज अगर हम देखें, गांव में बैठे लोग, बस्तियों में बैठे लोग, पूरे देश में कंसर्न लोग सूचनाएं मांगते हैं कि अगर राशन नहीं मिल रहा है तो राशन की सूची देखें, किसको राशन मिल रहा है, कितना राशन मिलना था, नहीं मिला तो कब मिला लास्ट, ये सारी।
So what she's saying is, like, she's giving an example about rations. Rations are, for people who don't know, are like a government initiative that has been going on since independence, that certain people can get free food from the government because India is still developing. We have a lot of poverty, and like food availability is based around supply. It's not based around who grows what. All the money you have, it's based on supply. So what she's saying is that at this point, if you wanted to know who's getting what, how, like which area is getting food, who is giving out that food, all of that information will be not available to you, which means that you will not be able to report if a certain region is not getting food or a certain region is getting way too much food.
चीजों को देख सकें। मनरेगा में यदि वेजेस नहीं मिलते हैं, लोगों को जॉब कार्ड नहीं मिलते हैं, तो किसको मिला है, जिससे ऐसा तो नहीं है कि उनका नाम सूची पर है पर उन्हें उनका अधिकार नहीं मिल रहा है।
So Manrega is a scheme by the government which was very recently used during COVID to pay people when they're out of work because of certain like say droughts or whatever, or like riots can be, or the government can't sustain the factories or companies or pay normally, so Manrega will pay you. It is a social security scheme. So what she's giving an example that say who is, to understand who is not getting paid by Manrega if they should have been, that information is also not there, or who is getting paid, who is getting paid more, who is getting paid unnaturally more, because we know that India is casteist. Sometimes some people might randomly decide that, hey, I like this certain caste, I'm going to pay them more. I'm going to pay them less, I don't like them, I'm going to pay them less, or nothing at all. That information is also hidden.
और सोशल ऑडिट कर सकें, पीपल्स ऑडिट कर सकें, कलेक्टिवली भ्रष्टाचार और अनियमितताओं के खिलाफ आवाज उठा सकें। अब व्यक्तिगत सूचना नहीं मिलेगी, इसका मतलब है कि अब हम ये सारी सूचनाएं नहीं ले पाएंगे, क्योंकि सूचना के अधिकार में अगर व्यक्तिगत सूचना नहीं मिलेगी तो ग्रैन्युलर इंफॉर्मेशन जिसके बेसिस पर लोग भ्रष्टाचार से लड़ते आए हैं, मानव अधिकार हनन से लड़ते आए हैं, वो नहीं मिलेगा।
So what is she saying is, again, now it's the same thing, like you're not going to get any personal information, and if you don't have personal information, how are you going to fight corruption? Because corruption in essence is done by people. Even within bigger organizations, there are certain people who are the beneficiaries of it. If you want to fight this, you need that information, and if you want to especially fight corruption in the government, you need that information. They want to stop you from getting it.
अब आप ये सोचिए, बड़े बड़े पूंजीपति हैं जो कि बहुत बड़े लोन लेते हैं पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक से, जो हमारे ही पैसे हैं पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक में, और जब वो बड़े लोन लेकर फरार हो जाते हैं या लोन वापस नहीं करते, सरकार कहती है हमने लोन माफ कर दिया। एक गरीब इंसान, एक गरीब मजदूर 1000 रुपए का भी लोन लेता है, माफ नहीं होता है। तो क्या लोगों को जानने का हक नहीं है कि ये कौन लोग हैं, उनका क्या नाम है, जो बड़े पूंजीपति हैं जिनके इतने अरबों रुपए के लोन माफ हो?
Loan waivers has been a problem in India. People die, like people kill themselves. Sorry, like I don't know if I should say this on YouTube of all things, but in India there is a thing that there's a saying in India that farmers live and die while being, like, they're born and they die with a debt. But comparatively, certain companies, very certain brands get loan waivers, millions and millions of rupees, millions, like okay, 10 lakhs, thousands of lakhs of rupees get waived off just because they are someone. Like quite recently, Preeti Zinta got a loan waiver. Preeti slams Kerala Congress over loan waivers. She's slamming them for claiming BJP manages her finance. She received a 1.55 crore remission on her loan. I'm not gonna get into it because it's a bigger scam that she was part of. But you see the point. Like she's gonna slam them, she's gonna slam she's gonna slam Congress. Congress is gonna tell her it's a whole thing. But the point is, she got a loan waiver when people are dying. Like, but you're not gonna get this information anymore. We are not gonna have this conversation where we know that she got a loan waiver. We are not gonna know that someone is being corrupt anymore because there would be no information to have that discussion in the first place.
अब ये कहा जाएगा कि डीपीडीपी एक्ट आ गया, ये तो व्यक्तिगत सूचना है, उनके नाम हम नहीं देंगे। ये सूचना कि किन के नाम ऐड हुए इलेक्टोरल लिस्ट में, जो वोटर लिस्ट है, किसके नाम ऐड हो रहे हैं, किसके नाम डिलीट हो रहे हैं, क्या कोई किसी समुदाय के हैं, मुस्लिम समाज के हैं या क्रिश्चियन है इसलिए नाम कट रहे हैं, दलित समुदाय के हैं, ये सारी सूचनाएं तभी सही से लोगों तक पहुंच सकती हैं जब ये लिस्टें जो हैं लोगों के साथ मुहैया कराई जाएं।
So she's also talking about voter IDs because voter IDs are something like in India, it's just whatever at this point, because sometimes people get their names cut. People of certain communities don't have their names in voter IDs. They just cut them out. Even that information would also be curbed, so nobody will be able to go to the police or go to like news outlets to actually complain about these things anymore.
अब कहा जाएगा इन लिस्टों में तो नाम लिखे हैं, पता लिखा है, ये सब हम नहीं देंगे। तो ये जो पूरा ढांचा है सूचना के अधिकार को, इसको तोड़ने के लिए और सरकार को जवाबदेह ना बनाया जाए, अकाउंटेबल ना होल्ड किया जाए, उसके लिए ये एक पूरा एक सिस्टम बन गया है। इसका विरोध करने की सख्त जरूरत है, क्योंकि ये सिस्टम जो है ये हमारे देश में जो लोकतंत्र में है इसकी कोई जगह नहीं हो सकती। हमारी यही NAPM के भी मंच से मांग रही, NCPRI जो सूचना के अधिकार का राष्ट्रीय अभियान है और तमाम संगठन जो हैं यही मांग कर रहे हैं कि सूचना के अधिकार के साथ छेड़छाड़ न की जाए। जो डेटा प्रोटेक्शन कानून में ये प्रावधान लाया गया है कि सूचना के अधिकार के सेक्शन 81J को संशोधित किया जाएगा, उसे रोल बैक किया जाए। आप भी अपने मेटी
And she's just asking people to do this basically, like, fair, like, hey, true. We can talk about what Congress is doing. Congress is posting pictures again. They are. I used to think that they could like help. I don't know. I don't know anymore. They like there is this comment like बैठ गए दोनों घोड़े fair and lovely लगा के. They talk a lot. Let's just say that. There is no act. Sometimes there is no pushback, or maybe there is pushback, and we just don't know because news channels will never cover it for some reason. Because I checked, and I swear to you, I checked it properly. Let's check how many people are actually talking about RTI changes India news. I checked this. This is 6 years ago, 5 years ago they were talking about this. 2 years ago they spoke about this. Where is the latest ones? They're like, let's say this week there is Study IQ, which is not a news channel. There is Legacy IAS Academy, not a news channel. Who is covering this? Knocking News is not actually a news channel. Money Life Bites. Where are my news channels? Because the only thing I could find was surprisingly Times of India, which talks about Congress MP Jairam wrote to the Union Minister that this is not right. That's what the lady said. Equal rights to information that citizens have. Yeah, this destroys RTI Act 2005. That is true. Then there is, this is income tax. So we're going to cover this a little bit later. My bad spellings. Prashant Bhushan again is a very important person within these discussions. He's a Supreme Court lawyer. He's always active. He's always front runner of these things. People have said a lot of bad things about him, to be fair. God has upheld the fundamental right of several judgments. Yeah, I'm sorry. In all, we're kind of fucked. That's all I can say. Like, if there is no information to have, there is no information to talk about. And if there is no information to talk about, the government has a free pass to do whatever they like, which is very problematic. So, moving forward with the second news, which honestly is more worrying, because the government has decided in its brilliant mind that it can just take your information. If you get an income tax notice, which to you and me, it really wouldn't matter, because again, maybe would matter to me eventually later, but like to a normal person, an income tax notice, it's not going to affect you, but it is going to affect your leaders. So anyone standing against this government can have their information stolen by the government. Now they can do it legally. Now they can just say, hey, that's all information, your WhatsApp contacts, your phone contacts, whatever. Like it's their information now. you have no personal right whatsoever anymore, which affects people standing up to them. So they can do basically whatever they want now. Like the RTI Act is also an abhorrent, like the changes that are abhorrent at the end of the day. This is worse somehow. They can have access to your laptops, your hard drives, to your emails, like anything. You just need to, the government just needs to point a finger at you and be like, hey, I have a problem with this guy. And then they have this information, they can just take it away from you. Like initially you had this defenses like, hey, I need a lawyer, I need to get like this get like my digital assets are mine. If you want my passwords, you have to go to the Supreme Court. You have to go to like need to make a case for it. Nothing now. Like they can just take it off you. They are not limited by anything anymore. By law, they can just take it away from you. Let's see what our dear finance minister has to say about it. I got her video out again. For some reason, they speak very slowly. So what we're going to do is we're going to speed it up, because I honestly do find it just like this. They say like sometimes like the main channel actually shows a lot of them actually sleeping at the back. I get it.
Issues which is not so much the finance bill related matter. It is a matter which is being taken up from the new income tax bill, which is with the select committee. But I want to assure,
I shouldn't say
the honourable member,
she is not good at her job.
A provision particularly to look
can
at
you hear
the
it
data
correctly?
exists in the current environment.
Can you hear this?
Particularly in certain cases of search and seizure authorized by the competent authority, where access code is not available and the person concerned is not cooperating with the proceedings, the authorized officer may gain access to such computer system. Exists even now. Now it is now being specifically brought in and mentioned in the new bill because what is mentioned in the 1961 Income Tax Act is books of account physically kept, and then the ledgers, and every manual record which will show about your income, your expenditure, your monies and all that is specifically mentioned. And since the 1961 Act does not mention the digital, most often it becomes contentious. People go to the court or question, all right, I've shown you my ledger, but why do you want my passcode so you will see my digital? Becomes an issue. So
it doesn't become an issue. That's the whole point. That's the reason why the passcode is there to begin with.
That what prevails now with a gap, that gap is getting filled up in the new income tax.
It's not a gap. It was never a gap. The password is there to protect you. You should be able to say no. Like, hey, like you're accusing me of something. I should have my privacy. Like getting an income tax notice or like getting officers at your door. This might not be criminal. They might not consider it criminal. I don't know. But they act like you are a criminal, which should be enough for you to be able to protect your privacy. Just because you are being accused of something doesn't mean you have no privacy anymore.
Which is before the bill, which is before the select committee. So in this, I will take a minute to explain as to why that digital thing will have to be brought in. Sir, encrypted messages and mobile phones, unaccounted money to the extent of 250 crores have been detected when the encryption has been decoded. One. Second, evidences which have been seized from WhatsApp messages, particularly crypto assets, were one.
I need to increase the word size. What did she just say? Hold on.
When the encryption has been, money to the extent of 250 crores have been detected when the encryption has been decoded.
Yeah, see, if you have a case that is this strong, why don't you just go get a warrant? Like, a warrant is basically the same thing. Just you have, like, it's extra steps, but extra steps to protect the person.
Second, evidences which have been seized from WhatsApp messages, particularly
Jesus fucking Christ. WhatsApp, seriously, those are the essence of being what a private message is. That's why you need a warrant. That's how the government should work.
crypto assets worth more than 90 crores, and the network of people involved in it have all come out of WhatsApp messages.
Someone needs to verify this because this might just be a lie because we have a lot of people who have lied like this. But well, the RTI information has been curbed, so I don't know if you can verify this. You have to just take it for her word, which I don't think we should take her for her word as long as we can throw her, but that's me. That's mine.
Now, if the law does not give you the legal backing, in spite of the fact and evidence being in your face, you will have to.
Fact and evidence being in your face, that's BS. Like, why do you need a law when you can get a warrant to someone's phone? Just go to a fucking judge. Get a warrant. You can protect their rights while doing your research.
Go stand in the court to say, yes, but the law doesn't provide, but the evidence is here, the money is being misused, it is unaccounted money. It becomes tedious. And therefore, the digital element.
It becomes tedious. Oh my god, this is so like, oh my god, like, oh, this is so tedious. Like, doing the right thing is so tedious sometimes, so we are just gonna do the wrong thing and say it's okay. Like, we are definitely not like a governmental board that needs to be like, oh, what? That needs to follow a certain law. Like, we assume that the person we are accusing is guilty, so we are just going to take everything away from them. We are not going to follow procedure. We're just going to make it like a real easy for us to like manipulate someone, push someone, harass someone. So easy.
Has to be brought in. I'll bring in one more example, sir. WhatsApp communications and incriminating materials found from such conversations helped to unearth the syndicate and identify the end beneficiaries of bogus bills worth 200 crores.
Someone check that information. She has no citations.
So do I go to the court again saying, but the law doesn't allow me to look at WhatsApp messages?
The law allows you to do it if you get a fucking warrant.
So we need to bring in. There's also another example, sir. Capital gains of 150 crore on sale of land was reduced to 2 crores by creating false documents of land cost of acquisition and also using all payments in banks statements as claims of investments and improved expenditure. So the WhatsApp group of key persons include many professionals also, unfortunately. So we had to contemplate on how to be lawfully on the side of law to say that these evidences which are incriminating.
So basically, you want to be lawful, so you just change the fucking law to suit your needs. That's the idea. Like, oh, WhatsApp group has professionals. Oh my god. How about you get a warrant?
In themselves, therefore, it has been broken. I can also give one more, which is evidences have been found with the help of Google Map history. So in the case of Google Map history, sir, found on the phone was used to determine the frequented locations of individuals who enabled location history. This enabled detection of hideouts where cash and unaccounted transactions are kept. And that also came of help. So there is a need for us to change.
Ask Google. They already track you. Get a warrant. You can make a law that you can get a warrant for all of these things. You don't have to make it, give them all of the power to just check. How about you create a trail like of information that, hey, you did this, you did this, you did this. But when you suspect someone, you get evidence, probable cause. It's not a very hard thing to understand. And get a warrant.
or add the digital elements into the act itself. So one last example for that, sir. The prohibition of Binami properties, Instagram accounts was used to establish the beneficial ownership of vehicles. Expensive vehicles, no ownership details.
I think, if I remember correctly, Bedami means things that are born off from foreign people like NRIs and
Track it at the going backward and forward. We could break the case by using Instagram.
See, you could break the case. Why don't you just do what you did before?
So, benefit of technology for the sake of country's exchequer.
Yeah, the failure of a person. It's just an absolute goddamn failure. Like, I swear to you, these people do not care. Like, they do not care about you or your personal privacy. Like, at this point, imagine this happens that like they already have IT rates for every single person who opposes them. Like now they can have IT rates about everyone and then collect collect all of their information whatsoever without a warrant, without anything. Where is this clause? As per the clause. Authorized officer means whoever, a joint director of additional director, joint commissioner or additional commissioner. It's quite literally like income tax officer has, like this dude, the Ramesh that is sitting there in the income tax office auditing you has access to all of your information now. They're allowed to break open your devices. They can just get access directly to everything that you do on your phones. What privacy, dude? Social media accounts, a virtual digital space simply offers terms of two, like email servers. Fine, get a warrant. Social media accounts, get a damn warrant. Online investments, trading accounts, they already have this information. Any website storing details of ownership of any assets. Do they specify which websites? No, because they can be like Facebook is storing your assets of ownership. Remote server, cloud servers. Fine, get a warrant. Jesus Christ. Obviously, legal experts aren't threatened. No shit, Sherlock. Partner told us major shift from existing income tax and warrant that because these new powers could lead to yes harassment and need unnecessary scrutiny of personal data. Yes, exactly, that's the point. Like you are already harassing people on income tax rates. What is to say that this random Ramesh who or what Suresh, maybe whatever Suresh, income tax officer hasn't been told to just include in data fake data and just claim that they found it on your phone. Because there is no scrutiny over there. There is no safeguards. There are nothing. There's literally nothing. They have access to your shit directly. Who's gonna stop them? No one. That's the whole point of all of this. That's why they're changing this. See, this is not good for anyone. Is it like, will it be good for you? Like, we already have a comedy club destroyed. We have burning issues and justice. And now they're crushing RTI. So this was another thing that I wanted to see. This is, The Wire did this. They spoke about this issue. I'm not going to go around covering the first two things. Maybe this is for some other time, not right now. I need to have dinner, so I'm just going to leave in a few minutes myself.
Again, non-performing assets. We hear of these large capitalists.
So we can just skip to, we first go to introductions. The Wire is great, but The Wire is also iffy sometimes, so I don't know. Again, everything for The Wire to The Wire. I don't own anything, I'm just talking about this.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Wire Wrap. I'm Janvi Sen, and with me today I have transparency rights activist Anjali Bhardwaj.
Again, we heard her earlier. She's an activist. She's doing a really good job. She is amazing at this point. She is I can say that, like, okay, she's the only person who's talking about this. Like, I have seen like one other person talking about this is Ravish Kumar, but I'm not going to play his video right now. Go watch his videos; they're great. Bit slow again. I
And
usually
editor
watch
of the
them at
News Minute,
1.5
Dhanya
speed.
Rajendran.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much for coming. Now, on Sunday afternoon, comedian Kunal Kamra released a new
Okay,
special.
we are going to move forward from Kunal Kamra because I don't want to talk about fear of justice. Moving on from that as well. That was another big story, but I don't want to cover it right at this point. Data.
The Union government plans to finalize the rules under the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, which was passed by both houses of parliament in 2023. Now, however, a close reading of the act by some rights activists and lawyers has revealed some serious concerns about the law. Now, the first
I
is
was
the
not.
way the
This was not
DPDP
done right
Act,
now. This was
a
done
bit of a
before.
mouth tongue twister.
But better than what is it? What is the new one for IPC? Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Better than that, yeah.
Yeah, that was so fucking stupid. Jesus Christ. They're Hindifying the goddamn constitution.
Yeah. So the way in which it amends a very crucial section of the Right to Information Act, which is Section 81J. And this is, and the DPDP Act intends to exempt all personal information from disclosure under the RTI Act. Now, the RTI Act already had safeguards for personal information and said that it can only be denied. It can only be denied and not released in situations where it has nothing to do with any sort of public interest or public activity, or is an unwarranted intrusion into privacy. But if the DPDP Act has its way, there will be no if, what, nothing. If it's personal information, they don't have to release it. This will mean that even information that is clearly in the public interest, an example that has been raised is, the names of willful defaulters, they won't have to release because it's
We
personal
already
information.
covered this before. It's just rehashing of what was going on. They are just trying to say the same thing as earlier. It is a big problem. The RTI Act. You need information to find corruption. And
Another
they're
part
enjoying it
of
hard.
the Act that has caused concern is the classification of anyone who collects information, individuals, entities, as data fiduciaries and making rules for them that are very stringent. There is a provision to set up a data protection board under the union government, and this board will have the right to fine entities around rupees 250 crore, I think, if they're seen to be releasing personal information without the requirement.
This is a problem mostly because, like, okay, data protection is not a big issue. Like, it is a good thing. The problem here is that the government is deciding this. Like, the government will control everything. Our governments are not unbiased. We need like a tertiary party. Like, I'm afraid to say the Supreme Court should set this up because Supreme Court. But fine, whatever. I'll take the Supreme Court over the government doing this.
Requisite permission. There's also no mentioned exemption for journalism under this law. Now, just
The volume should be lower, I think.
yesterday, a group of opposition MPs have written to Information and Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, particularly about the RTI section, saying that this section of the DPDP Act must be repealed. Anjali, you have been one of the people who's been raising awareness about these issues. What are the dangers you see of the DPDP Act as it stands?
So, Janvi, let me first say that the DPDP Act really is a way of centralizing control over the entire personal data regime in the country. There are two ways by which people can access information. One is the Right to Information Act. And a data protection law must harmonize both our fundamental rights, the right to information and the right to privacy. It does neither. So it has gone with a wrecking ball behind the Right to Information Act. Section 44 of the Data Protection Law amends the Right to Information Act to say all, like you said, all personal information is exempt under the RTI law. Now, why is this such a big issue? A lot of the use of the RTI law in the last 20 years has been around demanding accountability from those in power. And how people do that is they file right to information requests and access granular information. So, for example, we know that in India, corruption goes.
What she said earlier, like granular information is extremely important to fight against corruption. If you don't know who the person is, you don't know how to get through this. how to actually make a case on corruption if you don't know who is the corrupt person. You can't always say like, oh, hey, the whole entire thing is corrupt and then sue the government. You can't do that. You need to find the person.
Goes from the highest to the lowest levels. People want to know that if they're not getting their rations, they're not getting their pensions, they're not getting their scholarships, they want to know who is getting it so that they can actually check, they can monitor, they can be social audits, public audits. Now,
This is to know if the government is using favoritism over pensions and funds and whatever, which I won't say it has never happened before, and I won't say it has happened before, but some states do not get certain fundings these days if they are affiliated with certain parties.
in the name of data protection, all of this information is put out of the domain of the public, then we are going to have a situation where people are going to go back to the pre-RTI days where they were not able to hold the government accountable for this kind of corruption. Again, non-performing assets. We hear of these large capitalists who are running away with people's hard-earned money. It's people's money in public sector banks. And then their loans are written off. So people want to know who are these people, and they've been filing RTI requests. In fact, the issue has gone up to the Supreme Court in the Jayanti Lal Mistry case.
Yeah, see, that is the biggest point. Like, irrespective of everything else, like, we need to know who's getting a loan waiver from the government, because these loan waivers are like in thousands of crores. These are not like 1.5 lakh ka loan waiver. This is more.
Where the court said, of course, you have a right to know. Now, this kind of information, if we are going to be told that because it involves somebody's name, we cannot give it to you. Names of contractors. I mean, just look at the number of bridges that collapsed in Bihar in the last 6 months. Now, do people not have the right to know who was the contractor, who was given these contracts? There are so many other places. Electoral bonds case. There was such a long struggle, after which the Supreme Court said that, list should be out in the public domain. People have a right to know. Now we are going to be told who's donating to which political party. Who we can't tell you because it will involve names of people. We don't.
The major beneficiary of the electoral bond scheme was BJP. All of the people who donated to the BJP in high numbers have gotten something or the else. Or you can create a timeline of when they got IT raided and then they donated to the BJP. Except for one, I think they donated to the BJP and then got IT raided, which was weird, but I don't know how BJP works.
Don't want to, compromise their personal data. So essentially, there's going to be a chilling impact on all exercises in the country of accountability and anti-corruption, because we're just not going to be able to get the information that we needed and access through the right to information law to take this forward. Now, as if that was not bad enough, the other way in which journalists, researchers, campaigns collect data is by going out there, doing fact-finding, doing surveys and collecting data. So I run a small group where people come.
Very important group.
Right to food, and people come and tell us we don't have pensions, we don't have rations. We put down their names. Dhanya and you would go out and you would be doing fact finding on many cases. You would be collecting information which involves personal data. Now we are all being told that you will all be data fiduciaries under this data protection law, as will be the big companies, political parties. Anyone who collects personal data will be a data fiduciary. They have to comply with very serious and stringent consent regulations. If you are collecting, processing, analyzing data which has personal information, you have.
This guts every social right group. This guts them out. Because, yes, they should be careful with your data. That is true. But the government can decide what careful means. Which means if they don't like someone, they can just say you are against the data law. It's at their discretion, that's the problem.
To have consent. And if there is a complaint that's lodged against you for any violation, then the complaint goes to a completely Sarkari data protection board. So
Yeah, exactly.
the
you can have a fake complaint lodged against you. The government can lodge a complaint against
reason I
you.
call it Sarkari is that it's going to be set up by the central government. The members and the chairpersons are going to be appointed by them. They will have the power to remove them. And this board has the power to impose penalties up to 250 crores, which can be doubled by the central government through a schedule to 500 crore rupees. So you are giving this board the power to impose penalties up to 500 crore rupees for any violation of this law. And this is going to become like a weapon. So if you can imagine, there is anybody who raises concerns, raises questions, collecting data or using data that's already available because you're processing it and which the central government doesn't like. I mean, there just need to be a couple of complaints that are filed against you, which can be filed even by the government. And the Data Protection Board will then be able to impose potentially fines up to 500 crore rupees per case.
There's a good chance the government is doing this so they can actually cover up their deficit because they are losing a lot of money. So per case 500 crores. So let's say like a normal a normal NGO has like information like 1,000 people or something, like a small NGO, and then like 1,500, like 50,000 crore. Yeah, we are out of deficit. Just take it from the people who are actually doing good and shut them down.
Of violation. So we are going to have, this is, like a sword hanging on anyone who's doing an exercise
It's fucking guillotine.
in accountability. And there is no exemption for journalists. So, I mean, internationally, this particular law, because before it was brought in, the previous versions had a journalistic exemption. Now there's no longer a journalistic exemption. So the intention becomes very, very problematic of bringing a law like this in. Now, even political opposition. No political party today can survive without making lists of people, having their WhatsApp numbers. We all know that we
fuck political parties. I'm going to move forward.
Of multiples of 500 crore rupees on that political party. So how are names holding our data? And the government is saying that the central government will decide who is not covered under the law, who is not a data fiduciary. So potentially we are going to have a situation where UIDAI, which holds all our biometric data, etc., we will be told that's not a data fiduciary. Geo or some other company which is friendly with the central government, we will be told they are not a data fiduciary. So then that means that it's not even serious about protecting people's personal data or privacy. So we have a situation where both right to privacy and right to information activists are saying this is a very bad law because this is neither protecting the right to privacy nor the right to information. This is really just a weaponization of data where the government is almost creating a weapon which it can use at its own discretion because they've given themselves so many discretionary powers under this law that they could go after anybody who they don't want to do their work under this law.
Screw over anyone.
I think Anjali's done a really great job of breaking down many aspects. I guess if I could ask you, Dhanya, to focus on the impact it may have on journalism, because the RTI Act is
3-tier of grievance right to bring, which is the broadcast bill. That said ridiculous things like if you are making a video, even a travel blog, you have to have a committee. That committee has to then...
Oh yeah, she's talking about recently they had like a broadcast bill where if you are on the internet doing anything, you need to set up a committee with the government of India to check if your content is good enough for the government. So like you can't say anything against the government on how good it is or bad it is or whatever.
And say yes to the, like imagine you're an OT and you're taking a video, you have to show it to 2 people who will then say yes and then you can upload. Yeah. There was public outrage, which is the reason why that bill never saw the light of the day. It may come back in some other form, you never know. But we have failed to educate our masses. We have failed to tell people what the problems are. I mean, I would see an Anjali tweeting every day or speaking, but how many avenues are there where she will go and say this? Our mainstream media is not giving the platform. Our opposition parties are least bothered. And that was what I was thinking while she was talking as to, it is so bad, but we have failed to actually tell people the repercussions of this, right? Hopefully there will be some awakening now that we are at this
Yes, we are trying. Thank you.
where the rules are going to be formulated. The rules have not come out, right?
The draft rules were put out by the government for consultation. 5th of March, that deadline got over. And from what we hear now, in April, the rules are going to be finalized and the law can become operational then. So this is really upon us in that sense.
Is there a case in the court?
The opposition parties wake up to this. I would even so the big question has been whose names are added and whose names are deleted from the voter list. Now the voter list has our names, it has our addresses, it has our photographs. So tomorrow we are going to be told no, the voter list is going to be pulled down potentially under this law because we have to protect personal data. So I mean what we are really talking about has very, very significant ramifications on our democracy at every level. So it is very important, like you said, Danya, that we need a situation where the opposition parties wake up to this. I would even say that, right-minded people within the ruling party also, I mean, they need to think about this and everybody needs to be able to say that this is not acceptable. And
right-minded people within opposition in India never happens. The moment they say anything against, they are kicked out or made to comply. Let's be clear about that. I have always wondered this, since I've been looking into politics, where is the individualistic ideals of these people who go into parliament saying that, hey, I am your MLA, I will protect your rights. And the only people that are even allowed to speak up are these few different people that just say what their party is thinking, not what they are thinking, which ideally shouldn't be the case. We are a parliamentary democracy. We are not like a presidential or a two-party system. Everyone should have the right to speak their mind, but they don't.
Of course, people need to be made more aware about this because, unfortunately, these are also technical laws, which unless they're really broken down and there's a lot of talk about it in the media, it's very difficult for people who are, so busy with so many things to engage with. And
I checked Republic TV, Republic World, whatever it's called, CNN, India, nobody is talking about this. No one has even a blip of this except for The Wire and Ravish Kumar. I don't remember if Ravish Kumar has a real.
I haven't seen the kind of opposition that this really requires.
Yeah, one can only hope that lots of complaints are filed against maybe the PM website, maybe some news channels, and then they would all wake up to the problem of the act. Yeah.
Before we close today, Dhanya, I wanted you to talk a little bit about a story that you did earlier this week, the News Minute and the News Laundry, about a very famous and awarded police officer, Kiran Bedi, and how she used Delhi police to surveil her own daughter when she believed her daughter was part of a definitely unethical and perhaps illegal visa racket of some sorts. And then what I found to be a particularly striking part of this story was it's possible that during the surveillance operation, they had some information on a rather gruesome rape that took place in the city, and that information was not passed on to the investigators. Could you talk a little bit about this story?
Yeah, so the story is based on thousands of...
I don't know what that is. If you want, we can go forward with this. Yeah, I heard about this earlier. I moved on because that was a bunch of crap. That Kiran Bedi is not a very good person at all.
Emails and around more than a dozen tapes. The surveillance was done at the behest of Kiran Bedi. This is in 2003. So she was in New York at the time and she figured out that her daughter was partnering with a man who was running a visa racket. So they would basically call up... Now, private parties helping in visa is not illegal person.
Travel agents do it all the time.
So they were actually calling the embassies and they would ask for the visa, but they were collecting a lot of money from these people. And I think there were complaints that people were not getting the visa. So the money was not being returned. So these complaints were reaching Kiran Bedi. Yes, she was a concerned mother. Nobody's saying she wasn't. But as a concerned mother, she told Delhi police to surveil these two people. Their phones were continuously tapped. Now, during the tap, this thing goes on for 4 or 5 months. We don't know if it went on for more, but whatever we have is that it went on for 4 months. In between this, a Swiss diplomat is raped in Delhi. She was outside a city auditorium here. She was coming out of a film festival and she was raped. And during one of the conversations, this man, his name is Gopal Suri, he tells another person almost a month later that, hey, the Swiss diplomat raped. Did Shahji get called? We don't know who Shahji is. That's the only mention. So the cop who was listening to the tapes sent an email to Kiran Bedi saying that this has come up in the conversation. I am telling my senior officials. It's a mystery as to what happened later because we asked the investigators of the Swiss diplomat rape. 10,000 people were rounded up. It was one of the biggest manhunts in Delhi. Nobody has been arrested. He said he did not know about this lead, that nobody informed him. So the question is, why was that not informed? Kiran Bedi, of course, there was a 5-column article in the Times of India yesterday where she has said that she was a concerned mother, and as a concerned mother, she went to the Delhi police. Okay, that's fine. You tap the phones. Was any case taken? Because there was enough proof that something was wrong, right? Was an investigation done? That she's not talking about. And the second, the Times of India did ask her about the Swiss rape. She said, I don't know. I just asked them to listen into my daughter. So that's the question that we have to ask. Like, what happened to that lead? Did you ignore it? As a story, I was quite excited with it because, it's like going back to proper journalism of listening to things. And there were two journalists on it, Anand Mangnali and Sumetha. They put in a lot of work. Yeah, I wish the story had come maybe a little earlier, but it had to wait for its time. Yeah.
Some people are just,
Okay, thank you both so much for joining.
hear so many bad things about these people, like, and nothing is ever done. I understand she's being a very concerned mother and shit, but like, someone they're talking about, they know who this person is. You could take them in custody just over this. Do it later, do it before. Nothing was happened. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's my time for today. It's late. I'm gonna head out. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Karan, for being here. Special thanks, obviously. I might upload this later. I don't know. I will have to edit this, and I'm not the best at editing anything. So I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna check out now. See ya.